Clawdbot, or should I say Moltbot, thanks Anthropic, has been blowing up all over the internet these last few days. It's your personal AI assistant that actually does things like check your inbox, book you a meeting, and much more, all through your favourite messaging app. It works with any model or any plan. Well, apart from this one. But it does have some potential security issues. I mean, the first time I set it up, someone tried to brute force my server. So hit subscribe and let's get into it. If you haven't already seen the Claude Moltbot craze over the internet, consider yourself lucky. People are buying Mac Minis like it's the end of the world to install Clawdbot and use it to run their lives. Sorry, throughout this video, I might mix up the term Claude and Moltbot, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, people are using it to trade crypto, join them on podcasts, and even to monitor their social media. All kinds of crazy things. Clawdbot isn't connected to Anthropic, hence the name change, and was created by Peter Steinberger just 3 months ago, which is amazing since it already has almost 70k stars on GitHub. And although some people have been installing it locally on their machine, I wouldn't recommend it, since Clawdbot has full system access, meaning it can do anything. So all it could take is a prompt injection from reading a PDF to bring down your whole system and expose your sensitive data. This is why people are installing it on Mac Minis to keep it isolated from their main machine. But since I don't have one, the next best thing to do is to put it on a cheap VPS under, of course, a non-root user with sudo access. Running this command takes care of everything, from installing and setting up skills like 1Password and Google Calendar, to adding the API keys of the models you want to use. And trust me, Clawdbot supports a lot of LLMs. The installation process even helps you configure a channel to use it with, like Discord, WhatsApp, or Telegram. Actually, for some reason, WhatsApp didn't work too well for me. I mean, okay, it did work, but it looked like I was talking to myself. So I went with Telegram, which currently is the only production-ready channel, and although it had a few steps to setting it up, I found this to be much better. You can also give your model an identity, which is a bit like a business card, a soul. Yes, soul sounds a bit weird, but that's what they've decided to call it, which is more of the agent's personality, and along with the persistent memory it has, it feels very human-like to talk to. I mean, when I mentioned that I'd been hacked, it responded with an alarm emoji, and when anything goes well, it seems to come across as being happy. The feeling of communicating with this agent through a messaging app does feel like something else. I mean, you can ask it the weather, you can ask it the time, you can ask it to book you a meeting, and it goes ahead and does it like a real personal assistant, but it doesn't sleep, it doesn't eat, and it works 24/7. This all sounds too good to be true, but it does have some security issues, which I'll talk about later. For now, let's go through how this actually works. So the kind of main part of Clawdbot is the gateway daemon, which contains things like the dashboard, the web-based UI you can use to configure Clawdbot, the WebSocket server, which are both exposed on this port via WebSockets and HTTP, and give access to different things like clients, which is used by the TUI, so the terminal interface to talk to agents, and also the web chat. Then there are nodes, which give Clawdbot native functionality to things like camera and canvas for the native Mac, iOS, and Android app. Then there are the channels, which you'll be the most familiar with. These are things like WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, and so on, and they don't connect to Clawdbot through the WebSocket server, but they have a channel manager, which uses channel-specific libraries. So Grammy for Telegram, Discord.js for Discord, and so on. Now from here, there's the agent's runtime, powered by Pi, which is a popular agentic tool, that creates an in-memory session for the agent's communication and can handle tool, skills, and per-session queues. There's also a router to handle multi-agent communication. But this is what connects to the cloud. I don't know why this is a basketball, it's supposed to be a globe, but the cloud agents, so if you're using Anthropic or OpenAI, LLMs, this will be your interfaces with them, or if you have local models like Olama, then this takes care of that. There are also hooks and other things that the gateway daemon takes care of, but for now, let's focus on the session manager, which manages the sessions between the agents, and also the storage and state, which is what you want to protect if you have a VPS or anything like that from hackers, because this is what stores the Clawdbot configuration, your auth tokens, so your Anthropic OpenAI auth tokens, and also the transcripts from the sessions that you have with the agents. This is usually stored in the .clawdbot directory. As you can imagine, there will be problems with running Clawdbot on a VPS because the IP address is public And if you expose your gateway, then anyone can access your bot or try to break into it, which is what happened to me. For the most part, running the gateway locally should alleviate most of the issues, but you can also install something like Tailscale to make your network more secure, which is what I did the second time round. Let me show you. After installing it on your server and the machine you want to access Clawdbot from, Tailscale can lock things down so that only these two machines can talk to each other and no one from the outside world can access them. And with SSH enabled, I can make it so that only machines in my network can SSH into the Clawdbot server, which means I can disable public SSH access. And if I used SSH tunneling to access the Clawdbot dashboard, I could just use the Tailscale addresses or use Tailscale serve to expose the dashboard, but just to my network. You could even use Clawdbot to configure Tailscale itself for the dashboard and the WebSocket part, but of course you'd have to manually sign up and connect the machines you want to access it from. I would also recommend creating API keys just for Clawdbot so that if they get compromised, you can remove them and create another one. Also, if you add any sensitive data to the chat, then it makes sense to go through and scrub that in case that gets compromised as well. And finally, the Clawdbot CLI does have a security command which can be used to fix issues automatically. But even with all these things in place, the biggest security issue by far is prompt injection. Since the agent can read, download, and search the internet, people can insert malicious prompts into files, emails, or anything, and the agent that has full access to your system can execute these prompts. Someone used Clawdbot to download malware to the system from a pull request by leaving encoded instructions in a URL, making it easy to miss. The YouTuber, Low Level, mentioned his friend installed Clawdbot and it read an email from his wife telling Spotify to play EDM music, and because the agent had access to Spotify, it went ahead and did that. I know, scary stuff, and there are things popping up over the internet all the time. I'm sure models will get better at detecting these sorts of things, but you know what hackers are like, they'll always find a way. Overall, I think Clawdbot is still super impressive. Sorry, Moltbot just isn't as good of a name. I think it's a great way to expose people to what these amazing models are capable of when giving the access, but personally, I don't feel comfortable giving these models my personal information. Maybe that might change in the future, but right now I'm a bit apprehensive. But there is hope, I think, because if big companies see that users are happy to give agents full access to their system and personal information to do things like book flights, meetings, and basically organize their life, then they may put more effort into the personal assistant side of LLMs like Cowork, but make them much better and also find ways to get around these security issues. Speaking of security issues, if you're building apps for AI, then you should definitely check out BetterStack, which is a tool that can use anomaly detection to pick up on weird things happening to your servers, can use AI native error tracking to spot errors on your front end, and can let you know as soon as your site or project goes down through its amazing uptime monitoring system. So go ahead and check out BetterStack today.